Hello and welcome to an episode of PL Seasons ahead of the new Premier League season starting tomorrow on the Saturday, the 12th of September. We've got 4 cracking games coming up. It doesn't feel like we've been away, but I'm joined by Ashley Douglas as ever, and myself, Ryan Tatum. So. We're just going to have a quick discussion around each game that's coming up this weekend and give a prediction. And I know we're all looking forward to it. So Dougie, quick turnaround. It doesn't feel that long ago since that final day where there was teams playing for the Champions League and relegation, and I've just got Watford on now, and it's all just come about again.
Yeah, it's sort of we've fast forwarded a couple of weeks and we're back.
Yeah,
back again to the Premier League season and the Championship season also starting tonight. Yeah, it's crazy how it's all suddenly now come again. We've not really, as Liverpool fans, really had a chance to celebrate winning the title without literally now back and run the cosh again. So yeah, it's I always think the first day of the season is the best day in the football calendar. I really do.
Yeah.
Excited for it. I really am.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, it's felt like it's come around quicker because we've not had any sort of pause. There's been European competition. We've just had Nations League, so we've had football all the way through, really. So it doesn't feel like for us as fans, it doesn't feel like there has been like a stop.
No.
And I know I think a big factor will be a lot of the teams. Will they be at full strength? I don't think so. I don't think the teams will be firing on all cylinders. There's a lot of deals still to be done in the transfer market, which that have all been done and dusted by now in usual circumstances. So we'll jump straight into it. The opening game at 12:30. We've got Fulham, newly promoted Fulham, at home to the Arsenal. So. Interesting game. Fulham, I think a lot of people last season expected Fulham to walk the Championship with the team that they managed to keep together. Players like Mitrovic playing in the Championship, and not just him, they had quite a lot of quality throughout. I think they underachieved a little bit, and they only ended up scraping through the playoffs. So I do feel that Scott Parker could be one of the candidates to be under pressure if things don't go quite well for Fulham. And I know they didn't do too well when they splashed a lot of money when they were last in the Premier League. So interested to see how they go. But what's your thoughts on that game, Dougie?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think there's two ways you can look at it. I think if we'd have had fans in the ground, I think it would have helped Fulham a lot more with the somewhat of a 12 man. I think
definitely
without that, I think it becomes. I don't want to say an even playing field. I don't want to say that. What I really want to think, what I'm thinking is that it's going to be a bit more difficult for Fulham. For Arsenal going there, I think with no fans, I think it makes it a lot more easy, a lot more simple.
Yeah.
Without a lot of fans on your back, I think for Fulham, I just in case if they go 1-0 down or so,
yeah,
there's no one there to rally them from the terraces, and I think that could be a bit of a problem for them. But the Premier League is a very strange league where silly things can happen or crazy things can happen on the first day of the season. So it'll be an interesting one for Fulham. I think I'd probably say the bookies' favourite to go back down again.
Yeah.
And they're one of the other teams to go back down again. But they need to have a go, and I think some of the teams that have come up from the Championship, I mean, Norwich are one of the best teams in the Championship when they were promoted, and they came to play their own way, the Norwich way, and now they're relegated. They didn't. So it's the Fulham have to adapt and play a little bit different. We'll find out. See how Scott Parker does.
And I think just touching on the Arsenal side of things, I think Arsenal ended the season in a good way, and obviously they won the Community Shield the other week, and they did. There's been good vibes coming out of the club. I feel they've got, as we talked about before, they've got Gabriel over the line now. There's talks of there's still talks going on about Thomas Partey and Jose Mauar. But we'll have to see how those progress. But I think with the squad that they've got together, there'll be a lot of fresh players in there. Although, like we talked about, there's not been a big break. A lot of Arsenal have played quite a few, behind closed doors friendlies already. And people like Aubameyang have I don't think he'll have lost his sharpness. So I do think, I agree with what you're saying in the respect of not having the home fans. These teams coming up, they feed off that. The home games. They always say like what you do at home can help you to survive. So I think it will be an Arsenal win. I'm quite confident as an Arsenal fan. I'm quite confident going into the game. I think Fulham will be up for it because obviously it's first game in the Premier League. How wouldn't you be up for it? Not too sure who they've signed or who they've sort of strengthened with really, but I think they've kept together the nucleus of the side that they had last season. So I think I'm going to go with. I think they'll score, but I'm going to go with Fulham 1, Arsenal 3.
Fulham 1, Arsenal 3. Yeah, just to touch on Arsenal, I think it's come out that there's about 5 centre backs all injured at Arsenal at the moment. Bit of an injury crisis there. But I think even with that, I think Arsenal will be too strong. For Fulham, I think there's a very, very, very good vibe coming out of Arsenal. I've not seen this vibe for a lot of years. I don't think there has been a vibe at Arsenal for a lot of years now. But I think under Arteta,
I'm just laughing about how many times you said vibe.
Won't change it for the world. But yeah, like I said, I can't see past an Arsenal victory. I think Aubameyang will be on song again tomorrow. So I actually don't think Fulham will score tomorrow. I think Arsenal will have a really good defensive performance, and I think it'll be a 3-0 win.
Yeah. Just going on the defence, I think they'll probably line up with they could maybe do the 5 and 10. They might shift across into the centre half position, in a free, maybe with sort of Holding and Saliba. I don't think Gabriel will play.
I think Gabriel will be benched, won't he? I think Gabriel will be on the bench.
Whilst he builds fitness up, but yeah. So that's the early one. So the next game that we've got then is the only one at 3:00 for the Premier League is Crystal Palace versus Southampton. So Crystal Palace had an awful end to the last season. I don't think they won a game when they came back from lockdown. And it was a defeat after defeat, and I think they had some spirited performances in there. I remember the one against Chelsea when they got beat 3-2, I think it was, at home. But they just didn't get any results over the line. And if that form carries into this season, then, they can be, one of the candidates to go down. I'm a little surprised that Roy Hodgson is still in charge down there. But that's just my thought. I felt like they needed a bit of a refresh. Get a new manager in. But they have made some promising signs. They signed Eze from QPR, who had a great season in the Championship. And I don't know, maybe he might be a replacement for Zaha if he's going to be leaving. It seems to be that saga where nothing ever happens.
It's been quiet. I think it's been quiet with Zaha, hasn't it?
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, actually, in this window so far, that he's not really been mentioned. So maybe the bubbles burst a bit, and I think he probably knows he ain't getting a move.
Yeah.
Because he's expensive. But why not?
Yeah.
Why Crystal Palace? He's their best player. Why not put him up as a high price? Because you don't sell your best player. They've got, like I said, about the signs. They've got Batshuayi back on loan.
Yeah, they have.
They need goals, Palace.
Yeah, definitely.
Ayew was good last season. I think he was very good last season, Ayew, for Palace.
Yeah. But is he going to Is he going to get the goals? You know, the amount of goals that you need to stay up. It's a difficult one.
That's it.
And looking at Southampton, then I think they had a good end to the season. They got some good results, and Danny Ings, of course, you know, recently called up for the England side, and well deserved, and I think he ended up the third top scorer or something like that. 20 plus goals. You know, they'll be looking for him to fire again, and you know, great that he's found his feet again. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he whenever at Liverpool he was always injured, and I think and was at a time where we didn't really have a main man up front then. Okay, we had everyone, but we didn't really have someone who were getting us goals all the time. So I felt for him, but I sort of think he's found. I don't want to say he's found his level. I want to say that he's found his club. I think he's found someone that actually they love him, and I think he's one
believes in him.
Probably do want a bit of an arm around the shoulder. And I think Arsene Hutel is one of them managers that's probably like that, and I think it's come up trumps for him. I felt quite sorry for him in midweek. I didn't think he really got a chance in the 2 games. I think there was 13 minutes or something in 2 games.
Yeah,
shocking, really. That he should have been given more of an opportunity, but he needs to now put that out of his mind now. And actually, I think this could be the game of the weekend. To be honest with you, I really do think this could be the game of the weekend. I think Palace have to prove a point. Southampton want to start good because both teams haven't started. I think, if I can remember rightly, haven't started seasons very well. So I think this could be one. Watch it 0-0 now. But it could be one of the games of the weekend. I really do. Right. I think it's a really good game.
So what's your prediction for this one?
I'm actually gonna go. We talk about Palace not scoring many goals, but I'm gonna go an exciting 1-1.
Exciting 1-1.
Oh yeah. There is anything like that.
I think I'm going to go with Palace 1, Southampton 2. I think Southampton will take the win. They've just seemed like they've got a bit more firepower and a bit more cutting edge going forward. So just for that reason. So then moving on to the big one at 5:30, the champions of the Premier League, Liverpool, versus the champions of the Championship, Leeds, back in the big time. It's a big story, isn't it, that everyone's been talking about, and it's, you know, I do think it's brought a lot more excitement to the Premier League. You know, I think even for yourself, like I think if you're lining up against any other side, like, not to be disrespectful to any other side, but you wouldn't really have that sort of buzz and excitement, I don't think, but yeah, I do think that could be that's one of the games to watch of the weekend. I think just to see how Leeds cope now with the drastic higher level, and they've brought in some fantastic signings to actually help them cope at that level. But I think there's always looking at Sheffield United last season. There's always that. That you want to sort of keep together the nucleus of the squad that's gotten you up, and that you've bought into how Bielsa plays. So, what's your thoughts on that one, Dougie?
I think it's a dangerous opening first game for Liverpool. I really do. I think that could be the worst game we could have had as an opening game. I think Leeds are going to come in all confidence in the world. They're back where, in my opinion, where they belong in the Premier League. I think it's going to be difficult for Liverpool. I really do. Because for me, it's a free swing for Leeds United. I think if they've got anybody else, I think if they've got either us or City, a free swing. I really do. And not to be disrespectful, I think that's what it is. I think this is a game they would like to get out of the way early, and I think they'll do all right. I think they'll give Liverpool a game. I'm a bit disappointed with Liverpool in during the transfer window. I really am. I think we're not. We want to win more titles, but we're not showing any of that signs of wanting to progress. I'm seeing Everton spending millions and millions of pounds on players, and we're scrimping and scraping. How is that possible?
Yeah.
I know Klopp's come out today and said if we find the right player, then we'll sign him. Well, there's the right player in Germany at the moment who's
And I don't think the price for Thiago is outrageous either, is it? Like, I think what they're wanting 25 million, something like that.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I know this is not right, but I mean, like someone like Thiago sat in the airport now, looking at the ball, looking for Liverpool departure to come up, and it's not coming up at the moment. You know what I mean? And it's like Timo Werner
and William.
Shall we go on? But yeah, I'm disappointed with Liverpool's string at the moment. I mean, we were very disappointed in the Community Shield against Arsenal. I thought we had a very disappointed end to the season as well. I think I saw us play one decent game. That was Palace.
Yeah, but I think that switch off is always going to happen. But and there's always that. I think we talked about it a bit last season, but there's always that. That saying is that to retain the title is more difficult, and because of the motivation factor. And will Liverpool have that same motivation? I don't think. I do think they will be in the title race, but I don't think they'll run away with it like they did last season. I think it'll be much closer. But although the transfer window has been disappointing, I mean there's still time for them to bring players in. But looking at the squad at the moment, it's one of those that they don't want to sign players for the sake of it. But I do get from what you're saying that they do need to sort of move with the times and improve the squad. You can't ever stand still in this league.
No, we did this season. We won the league.
Yeah,
but everyone's getting better.
Yeah.
Now we a lot of people have spoke and we spoke off air about the Premier League for season from last season, saying that actually Liverpool won the league in the poorest league, really, because no one was competing, and that might be true. But this season, I see it being a lot closer. I see between third to second, the gap won't be as much, and probably the gap from second to first won't be as much either. So I think it's all about pushing on, and like I say, we've got till October, haven't we? Till middle of October-ish, I think it is, till the window ends. But we'll see. But yeah, on Liverpool themselves, I think we do have the team. If we turn up, we have a team that should beat Leeds. We should have a team that should beat Leeds. That's no offense to Leeds. It's just on paper we have a team that really we shouldn't be losing. We should be going out and winning the game. Leeds fans probably don't expect to go to Anfield and win. Now we don't want to go with the mentality that it's Leeds United, it's going to be easy, because it's not. Believe me, it's not going to be easy. This game will be one of the hardest games we'll have all season, and it's the first game. But we should get over the line, in my opinion.
And just before I ask you for your prediction, then Dougie, just a word on Leeds signings. So I know they've bought a lot of academy players or youth prospects. But the major signings they have spent, for the first time, it must, be so refreshing for Leeds fans, just for the first time in what seems like so long, to be splashing, the cash around and bringing, international, established international stars in the guise of Rodrigo from Valencia and Robin Koch from Freiburg, I think it was. So I think there was always the talk about Ben White, and I think that sort of hung over them a little bit, that saga. But I do commend Leeds just for sort of washing their hands of it. They can't force Brighton to they've gone in with 2 or 3 bids. They're not willing to budge, so they've gone elsewhere, and they've brought in an international defender who was in the Germany squad the other day. So interesting to see how he beds in and how he sort of goes into Bielsa's style, and the same with Rodrigo as well. I think a lot of people did say they did need a striker, and I was one of those who sort of looked at them last year and thought, they were brilliant in the Championship, but Bamford was quite a way off being the top scorer in that division, and for the amount of chances that Leeds create, they need to be getting more goals. And in this division, as you said with Norwich, it's such a step up that they need to. They needed to find someone who's at the required level to be able to convert them chances, and I do think Rodrigo could be that man. So, but again, it's that what we always say. How will he adapt to the Premier League, different style of play? So maybe it'll take a couple of weeks for him to get his feet in the door. But so if I can ask you for a prediction for that one, Dougie.
Yeah, I actually think Rodrigo will score tomorrow. I actually think it's a brilliant signing for Leeds, and I think it proves the how highly thought of Leeds United actually are.
Yeah, and Bielsa, I think,
Bielsa, I think he's one of them managers where he's infectious, and maybe he wants people will want to play for him, and I think that's the good thing about having a manager like that.
It's important, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's a guy walking his dog along Melwood who's a Leeds person who's watching every training session we've had since a bit of an old Spygate going on again. But I think I'm gonna go Liverpool win, but I'm gonna go a very tough game, and I think it'll be 3-1 Liverpool, but I think it'll be tough.
Yeah,
I think we'll score 3. I think we'll score 3 goals, but I think the scoreline won't reflect the game.
See. Well, I'm gonna go with you the same on that, Dougie. I think Liverpool will be too strong for Leeds. I think I do think it'll be a good game, and it'll be interesting to see how Leeds set about, because I know Norwich started last season against Liverpool and they started playing their way, and it just they ended up getting beaten, as we referred to earlier. But I don't think Leeds will go away from their style. I really don't. Why would you, if that's what's gotten you up? You can't just sort of throw that away. And someone like Bielsa won't do that. So I do think Liverpool though will be too strong for Leeds. But I also think Rodrigo might get off the mark as well. So I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool also.
Yeah.
I just think the Anfield, that the run that they've got at Anfield, I don't think that it'll end tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think if we do lose, I'm moving to Gibraltar. The amount of grief I'll get will be mad. So
So then moving on, then the evening kick-off at 8:00, we've got West Ham at home to Newcastle. So bit of I think for both teams in both camps there's been a bit of disharmony in both camps, really, because West Ham haven't really set about the transfer market and lit that up, really. There's a bit of negativity around there. I think that a lot of their fans and even the club captain Mark Noble spoke out about them selling Grady Dieng to West Brom, which is you don't really see that, do you? If your captain is speaking out on social media, then it's not a happy camp, is it? So and then vice versa with Newcastle. I think off the pitch, fans are not happy because the proposed takeover has not gone through, which they were really hopeful that would change their fortunes for the better. And that's fallen through, and there's a lot of bitterness about that, I think, and how the decision's been made. But then on the pitch, they have signed some very good players. I think they've signed Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth, 2 very good players. Although they've come from a team that's been relegated, they are very much Premier League players in their own right, and I think they will be big additions to Newcastle. I think that I heard that they were in the market for somebody else, but I can't remember who it was.
It was Jamal Lewis, wasn't it, from Norwich?
Yeah,
they'd be very close to being done.
There's that one, and I think there was somebody else, but I think from overseas, I can't remember who it was, but it's quite a sought after name. So I think from a footballing side of it, I think Newcastle could maybe pick up on that bit of negativity on West Ham's side. David Moyes will have had a job on to sort of just flush that out, especially with that coming from the captain. You don't really see that, so maybe that'll be a bit of a distraction, perhaps.
I think it's two clubs that is every season's full of negativity. In and out of the ground. I think it's one of them where I think having no fans in the ground at the moment could be helpful for teams. And I think Newcastle have one of the best supporting groups in the world, just because that's all they have. Newcastle, they don't have anything else. It's all football. As well as in West Ham, you've got a million teams that are in London that play football. I just think when things are going wrong and you've got packed stadiums at St James's and the Olympic Stadium, it's toxic. It's bad.
It's
the times where both teams can be quite relaxed. I think, as you said about Mark Noble, I think if your captain's going to come out and literally tear into the club about what the transfer dealing is, I think it's a recipe for disaster, really.
Yeah.
And I actually feel quite sorry for David Moyes, actually, because I think again, he's not being given the tools to do anything by the looks of things at the moment. And I think that'll be another downfall. And I think it'll be another West Ham manager out of the door as quick as they've come in.
Yeah. And I think as well, I think there's talk that the rumours won't go away about Declan Rice potentially going to Chelsea. And I mean, if they were to lose him, that'd be a major blow for them. So, all the the vibes that are coming from West Ham don't seem good for me.
No, and 80% of the time they never are. There's many good vibes that come out of West Ham, and I think a lot of West Ham fans will probably say, when is it going to end, this particular saga of it always seems to be the board against the club, and you'll know a lot about that with Arsenal, and then again with Newcastle, that's been an ongoing saga. For ages. But Newcastle have always wanted a number 9. I think Callum Wilson, they've got that. I think he's a really good player. I think Joe Linton was a massive disappointment.
Waste of money,
absolutely.
40 million.
I think they've done a lot of that. But I think also Newcastle for maybe losing people. I mean, Saint Maximin was one of Newcastle's best players last season. I think he's on this season now. But it's whether they can keep hold of him. I mean, hopefully Andy Carroll will have a season where he can play so many games, because he's another one that's just injury ridden. But that's going to be a very, very interesting game, because two teams that are already under pressure.
Yeah, you feel that.
Even started yet in the roar. But I do like Steve Bruce, and I
do. I was impressed with some of the results they got last season, because they weren't really ever towards the end. They were safe quite early. I think Newcastle, which is a testament to the job he's done, because not a lot of Newcastle fans would have it wouldn't have been the most popular appointment there. So what are you going to say for this one then, Dougie?
I think it's going to be cagey. I think it'll be tight, and I'm probably going to go a 0-0.
You think?
I just think two teams that won't want to lose.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm gonna I'm gonna get off the fence, and I'm gonna say West Ham 0, Newcastle 1.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I think they'll get an away win to start them off. So next up then on Sunday, on the first Super Sunday of the season, we've got West Brom, newly promoted West Brom versus Leicester. Another interesting game. I think West Brom, they're similar to Fulham, got over the line a little bit. They almost, at one point they were out of the. It was out of their hands, and thankfully for them, Brentford slipped up and that got them up. But they've still got Bilic in charge, so interesting to see how he does. And then of course Leicester had a really good start to last season and was up there in those Champions League positions all the way through up until the final day, weren't they? So yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think that's. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion that Leicester will win. I think a lot of people might look at it as straight away a Leicester away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at the Hawthorns. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jamie Vardy has a really good record against West Brom as well. I'd like to say that I think West Brom will be up for it and give Leicester a bit of a game, but I'm not quite sure really, because the way Leicester ended the season is whether are they still in that same mind frame, or they sort of come out and say, right, we need to kick on again. Because I don't technically think they'll have a better season than what they had last year. I know they'll probably come with absolutely nothing last season.
Yeah, I don't think they can do. I feel like that's the ceiling what they did last season, especially with other teams improving, around them. It'll be tough for them to sort of keep in that top 6, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get the same vibe from.
I mean, with West Brom, they always seem to be that perennial yo-yo club, don't they? Or they used to be. I think they had a bit more of a prolonged stay in the Premier League before they went down before. But now they'll be hoping to just establish themselves now for a couple of seasons. But it's going to be difficult because, like I say, they did find the Championship a bit of a struggle, and in the end, they were always up there with Leeds, but they could have easily still been down there this season. So. Again, probably like you say, probably a foregone conclusion, but I think it might be a tight affair. That one, a bit cagey as well. First game of the season, feel to it. So yeah, I'm going to go with. I feel like it'll be West Brom 0, Leicester 2.
West Brom, right? Yeah. Yeah, I sort of think when I was saying that it feels like it's a foregone conclusion, but I'm going to sort of stick my neck out on the line and say West Brom are going to give Leicester a bit of a game. I'm going to actually go for it. I'm going to go West Brom to win 2-1.
Right.
I think this season I'm going to see more shocks than normal, and I think everyone's expecting West Brom to go down instantly. But I think they might have I think they might catch Leicester at the best time.
Yeah.
I think they might catch Leicester at the best time, and I think if they really want to get themselves going, I think they've got some good players. I mean, I think is it Pereira they've got, who's quite a talented player, and I'll say they've got the guy from West Ham. I'll go 2-1 West Brom. Okay.
And then at 4:30 on Sunday, then we've got quite an interesting game. Spurs at home to Everton. So Everton had a very much Everton season last season, I would say. Bottom half of the league, and no one really bothered. Like it was just I think I spoke to a couple of the fans, and they were just same old Everton. And the problem is the amounts of money that they are. You talked about it before. And they've spent money again this summer, but they did that, seasons before, and they have done since they've had Moshiri now in place. So they've just not been spending wisely at all. I think worse than any other team in the Premier League, in terms of who have that sort of financial clout. They've just not invested wisely. I don't think. I mean, 40 million. I think it was on Iwobi, or 35 million. Has not looked very clever as well. But the signings that they have made in this summer do look like they've addressed a problem position for them. So midfield, looking, people like Sigurdsson, a bit, outdated, and is he the same player that he was? Probably not. Schneiderlin, all these players who, maybe a couple of years ago were quite good, but now just aren't quite cutting it. So I think they've freshed that up. The marquee signing is quite an unbelievable one. This James Rodriguez.
It's
And I think that's an exciting coup for the Premier League as well, to actually see him in the Premier League. You know, no matter what team he plays for, I'm excited to see him. They've got Alan from Napoli, I think it was. I think he's a holding midfielder. Probably a replacement to who went to I think it was Idrissa Gueye who went to PSG.
PSG, yeah.
He was a big player for Everton, so you know to lose him and they didn't really replace him. You know, he looks like a replacement for him as well. So yeah. Thoughts on Everton, Dougie?
Yeah. I think it's Everton, a sort of a club that enjoy letting you down in some ways. I think if you're an Everton fan, I seem to enjoy letting you down. They never seem to have much to shout about. I mean, back in the 70s and the 80s, Everton and Liverpool were one of the two biggest teams in the league, the ones that are battling for titles all the time. And I just think he just seems that Everton, we've been Liverpool to work over 30 years for a league time. I mean, God knows how long it is for Everton. You know, it just seems to be that they don't seem to be getting anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's the first time I think now Carlo Ancelotti's come in charge, and I said that this is his biggest job. I think he's had in football. I think I said it on previous podcasts. I might not have said it at all, but I think I said it to you that I believe it's his biggest job in football he's ever had. I think it's to take a team that are very much underachievers, and probably with the squad they've had and played have sometimes, I think they're still better than what they've done.
Yeah, definitely.
He's brought in
Abdullah last season. Yeah, I think even last. Yeah, Abdullah Doucouré.
He's brought Doucouré, who was heavily linked with a lot of teams, a lot of the top 6 teams in the Premier League. I think that's a fantastic sign. I think it's time to get people like Sigurdsson out of the door. I think for me, he's there to pick up his wage. That's it. I don't think I've seen him play as good as what he can.
Yeah.
James Rodriguez, like you said, it depends on how James Rodriguez is going to turn up. That's the thing. If we can get the James Rodriguez from past where he's looked incredible, then
Well, he's been with. I think he's got quite a good relationship with Ancelotti because that's 3 clubs now that he's followed him to. So, yeah. So
don't know much about Alan, but I think for Everton fans, I would be excited. I think Ancelotti won't buy garbage, and I think he's thought.
And he's been at Napoli, hasn't he? He's been at Napoli, I think, has he?
He's been everywhere. He's been everywhere. But yeah, I'm looking forward to have a look at Everton this year. I just don't want them to be. I want to have a game where I want Liverpool to play them where it's a really close game because it's the never nil contest, and I think that was the thing. Merseyside derbies back in 2007, 2006, they were always quite close. Well, they were a bit of a battle. Now it's not like that anymore. Now maybe because all the men, people like Phil Neville and Gerrard have all left now. They were the ones that used to put the foot in them games. They've all gone, but I'll be excited to see how he gets on, Ancelotti, especially with the few players he's playing.
So then a word on the home team then on Spurs. So big season for them. I think they ended up getting the Europa League and the joyful celebrations on the touchline, weren't they, when they achieved that 6th place. So it shows you how far Mourinho's fallen. So I think it's a massive season. Obviously, they had a lot of turmoil last season with after the getting to the Champions League final, and then a really bad up and down start, and then Pochettino ultimately paid the price, and then replaced by, I think it was a bit of a predictable appointment of Mourinho. And not maybe the most popular one, but he did in the end. He did end up getting them up the table and into the top 6, which ultimately you can't really grumble with after the start that they did have. But they've got to be. I feel this season they've got to be competing for major trophies now. I think otherwise it's another underachieving season.
Yeah, I think what Tottenham have to do now is more than anything is try and win a trophy. I think they need to put all their eggs in the basket of things like the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and play play full strength teams. I mean, Mourinho is pretty good in Europe. I mean, he won Europa League, didn't he, with Man United? And I think to go for that, I think there's a couple of Tottenham fans I know which have sort of said that they'd rather take a trophy than finish fourth.
Yeah.
Just because they need to feel like they're going to win.
I do feel like they have a chance in the Europa League, especially with Mourinho in the in Europe and how he is. So, like you said, that'd be. I think now with the stadium and everything, they have to. They've got to be in the Champions League. Otherwise, they're not going to be where they expected to be when they built. That stadium and the move there. So. And I do think with Tottenham, there's been a little bit. They got really good over the last couple of years, and although they didn't win anything, they were always there or thereabouts, and they had a really good run at White Hart Lane. They were always difficult to play against. They used to SWAT teams aside. So I do think they fell off a little bit with that. They've signed. Just looking at the signing, they've signed Pierre Højbjerg from Southampton, who's a tidy player, coming from Bayern Munich. But is he the player who's going to lift them to the next level? We'll have to see. It must have been one that Mourinho was after. But and then they've also signed Matt Doherty, which I do think is a fantastic signing. Actually, I do think he defends well, but he also contributes a lot going forward. He gets quite a lot of assists. Chips in with a few goals, so I think that's a very good signing for Spurs.
I think Mourinho seems to be happy for the first time.
Yeah,
about the transfer market. Whether he was being sarcastic, I'm not quite sure, but he said he was
possibly
happy with what Tottenham have done at the moment. It just varies. I always say it always depends what Mourinho you get this season. And is it going to be same old Spurs? Is it going to be Spurs that are going to really push on? And I'm just not quite sure. I think Spurs are one of them where you look at them and you say they've got the potential, but then they've got a lot of flaws as well. And you don't know which one outweighs the other, and I think they're a bit like. I'm not going to say they're like them. I won't say. I'm going to say they're a bit like Everton. I won't say that. I think what I'll say is that you're never too sure with what
they're going to do. Yeah, I think
problem.
I think as well, looking at the squad, Harry Kane came back from injury last season after lockdown, and he didn't, to me, look very fit. He hasn't really looked that sharp since. I might be wrong, but that was just my opinion. We're used to Harry Kane scoring every single week, and it wasn't really happening. But so it'll be interesting to see how he starts. They don't really have a backup still for him, do they? I know they signed Bergwijn in January, and he's actually chipped in with quite a few goals and match winning goals. So I think he's a good player for them.
Do you sort of think it's a big season for the likes of Kane and Ali? Just in the sense of if they don't win anything and they don't get in the Champions League again, are they going to sit around at Spurs, or are they going to jump?
I think that definitely applies to Harry Kane. Dele Alli not so much, because I don't think his level is much higher than Spurs, to be honest.
Sorry, I think Son and Harry Kane are the two best, aren't they?
Yeah. So maybe, especially Harry Kane, because I think you've heard little rumblings about him saying he needs to. He's not really been that, committal in what he's been saying. I know I think he's under contract for quite a while, but we all know what that means in this day and age. So, looking at the game, then I think it'll be very interesting. It's a good opening game for both sides, and one that both sides will want to start on the front foot. They'll want to get the season on there. So, how do you see this one going?
I sort of think that it'll be. I'm sort of going to say it could be like a tale of two halves, and I think Spurs being at home will start quite well, and I think Everton will probably last 20 minutes or so have a bit of a go. But I'm still probably going to go with a Spurs win. I think I'd be very surprised if Everton came out and beat them. I really would.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Tottenham. I think that'll be the height of their success for that season.
So I'm gonna also go with a home win for Tottenham, but I'm gonna say 1-0. I think they'll get one goal, and it might be a bit of a dull affair with Mourinho in, probably. But no, they aren't playing this weekend. So looking then on to Monday, we've got 2 games on Monday. One at 6:00. We've got Sheffield United at home to Wolves. 2 sides who had very good season and finished in the top half. Wolves, a bit unfortunate not to feature in Europe competition after the outcome of the FA Cup final. After having such a good season, but I think that's how it rolls. Sheffield United as well. Will they be able to replicate that first season bounce, if you like? I know they've signed a few players. They've got obviously they've had to replace the goalkeeper, which I think he might be quite a big loss for them. And I think they've signed a couple of other players around the park. But what's your thoughts on these 2 teams?
I think 2 teams from last season that exceeded expectation. I think no one would have thought Sheffield United would have been in the position they were. And again, I don't think people expected Wolves to be in the situation that they were. I just sort of think you won't see that again this season. I think second season syndrome for Sheffield United will kick in.
Yeah.
I think in the Premier League is a place where you get found out. It might take a season, but you get found out. The way you play gets found out. People will look and watch what you're doing. I think people will catch on to what Sheffield United did last season, and they'll try and stop that.
Yeah, and I felt that people did catch on to that a little bit towards the end of last season. A little bit. Go on, sorry.
And then sort of the same with Wolves. I think they were another team that was so quick on the counter attack. With the likes of Traore and Jimenez up front. I mean, the partnership with them 2 was really good last season.
Yeah.
But I think if you sort of nullify Traore, and plus he's not got Doherty anymore because Doherty used to run behind him. That
That's
was
a big loss for them.
Partnership that they had. So it's whether Traore wants to carry on being a team player or go back to where he tries to do it all himself. And I think that's when Wolves get let down then, because everything sort of goes through him. And I think I just feel that both teams are going to not have the same impact this season. So I think it's going to be one of them where it could go either way.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a difficult season for both of them.
Yeah, I think I think similar as well. I think I do think Wolves will do. I think Wolves will do well. I think that I like the manager there. I like the players. I think they'll be in the top half definitely. Contending for probably maybe contending for top 6. I do think they have that capability. I do want to just mention about the signing that they made last week for 40 million euros for Fabio Silva. So the 18-year-old that they've signed from Porto. Quite a big outlay for a young prospect, and I know a lot of teams now are rating. You're seeing a lot more, especially around the world, of these brilliant youngsters that are breaking through, and they are, they're so highly rated now. That might be why the fee's so much. But what were your thoughts on that signing?
To be honest, I don't know who he is. So
is a record signing now anyway.
I don't know too much about him, to be brutally honest with you, and I think that's quite good. Because it could be one of them where if you don't know much about him and he breaks onto the scene and does well, I hope he does do well. I don't know if he's a young lad.
I burst onto the scene, didn't
I? Yeah. Micah Richards was also officially joined Sky Sports as a pundit today, so that should be interesting to watch him over the coming weeks, because he is quite funny, Micah Richards. But yeah, I just sort of think I don't know like a lot about the lad, so hopefully I'll know much about him when he plays. You know about him?
I don't really know, mate. I was just a bit shocked by the outlay on such a young player. It's they broke the record, transfer record now for him. So, I mean, I think with Sheffield United as well, I did say towards the end of last season, I do think next season will be a different journey for him. So I do think that it might be a second season syndrome, but I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to say Sheffield United won, Wolves won. I think we'll start off on a draw.
Well, I know that in lockdown, Sheffield United beat Wolves, didn't they? Near the end of last season. So who did you go for again?
I've gone for a 1-1 draw.
Have you? All right, okay. No, I think I'm going to go with Wolves. I think I'm going to go 2-0 Wolves. I think Jimenez will get a brace.
Yeah, he's good for goals, isn't he?
He's in my fantasy football team, I think, as well. So.
And then we've got Brighton and Chelsea at the late kickoff now. Two interesting teams again. Brighton, I think, have made quite a lot of good signings in the transfer window. I think they've added Adam Lallana, didn't they, from Liverpool? And I think they obviously they've got Ben White back now from Leeds after that. That saga. Signed a new contract and everything. So, interesting to see how they fare this season. But then the major talking point, of course, is Chelsea, and they've really been the most active in the transfer market, and really have shown, I think a statement of intent, really, haven't they, to look at trying and bridge the gap to Liverpool and Man City.
Yeah, I mean, from rags to riches, from last season to this season. I think a lot of it probably with the Hazard.
Money, yeah.
I think Real Madrid wishing they probably could send Hazard back. On another one of his diets. But I sort of think, I think they're missing Ziyech and Thiago Silva out there in Chilwell for the first game of the season.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see a lot of the new boys. I know Timo Werner scored in pre-season, didn't they, against Brighton? When they played at the Annex in pre-season. I think it'd be an interesting one. I think it's nice to see Lallana. Hopefully he gets a start and he kicks on with what's left of his career. I think it could be quite an interesting game. But I think Brian have to start well. I think if they concede first, then I think that's all she wrote. But I think it could be quite an interesting game. It's all depending really how Brighton start. If they start well and they start to give Chelsea in, because I still don't think Chelsea have
addressed the back
or defence. I think we said it on a transfer show, I think, T, where we were saying that they've looked too much up front for me again. Okay, they brought Chilwell in, but did they actually need Ben Chilwell at left back? I think they should be looking more at centre backs, really, but I'm not a Chelsea fan, so probably they might disagree with me on that one. But I think it was more goalkeeper and centre back. I think they've covered. Kai Havertz as well. Is he? He'll be.
I'm not too sure whether it'll be interesting to see if he's amongst the squad. I don't think he was. He was. Well, he did play for Germany last week, so you'd expect that he'd probably be there with Chelsea.
Well, he's another man I don't really know a lot about, so I think it's going to be quite an interesting season for me because I have people that have been signed I don't have a clue about.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be a good. I probably still. I can't see past Chelsea, to be honest.
No. So I'm going to go the same. I'm going to say Chelsea to win quite comfortably 3-0. I think they'll give a bit of a statement, and even without some of the players that they've brought in, I think they'll still have too much for Brighton.
Yeah, I think Chelsea. I think Chelsea will win. I think I'm probably going to go 3-1. I still think there'll be a bit of confusion at the back, and I think Brighton probably will score about 10 minutes to go when the game's very much done. Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Chelsea.
Right, well, that concludes it then. So, thanks for that, Dougie. Obviously, we'll see how that all pans out as we go into the next season. So, really looking forward to tomorrow as it kicks off at 12:30 at Craven Cottage. And obviously, the major, there's some teams that we've not talked about, of course, that are not playing due to having extended periods of rest due to their participation in European competitions. That's Manchester United and Manchester City, as well as obviously their opponents Aston Villa and you might have to remind me the other Burnley.
Still going,
yeah.
Burnley.
What's that?
Yeah, still going stronger, Burnley. They're still here. I think that again, it's the two Manchester guys said on extended breaks. And again, I think similar. It's a big season for Ole Solskjaer as well.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping this Jadon Sancho saga ends soon because it's off, it's on. I mean, dear me.
Yeah.
So be interesting, and we'll see how many penalties Bruno Fernandes gets this season.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
We will be putting the prediction scores on our Twitter account, so people to keep an eye on and for us to keep an eye on because probably won't remember after tonight. So we'll have to put them up. We can keep up with that. See anything else from you, mate?
No, that's all from me. So look out for our channel at PL Seasons on Twitter for any further videos and like you said, just general updates throughout the weekend. So enjoy the football, and stay safe.
And we're back again, and we'll see you for the next video.